In less than a year, the Filipino electorate will once again go to the polling precincts and cast their votes to elect fresh set of public officials that will steer the direction of our nation in the years to come. Welcome to Politics and Beyond, an On Point the Podcast election series where I invite public officials and personalities to hear their opinions, analysis, plans, and aspirations for a better Philippines. Also to help the Filipino electorate in the upcoming 2022 national and local elections. So join me as I have my conversations with them here on Politics and Beyond. So welcome to another episode of Politics and Beyond, where I invite personalities who will help me unbundle the issues pertaining to elections. So this afternoon, I have a very special guest. He is a PR strategist, and at the same time, he is taking his masteral course in mass communication at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Everyone, please help me welcome here on Politics and Beyond, Mr. Brandon De Luna. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you for saying yes to this conversation and welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Hi, good afternoon, friends. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
And to start the conversation, sir, parang gusto ko lang malaman kung yung pagkakaiba ng PR strategist at yung parang political strategist, ano ba talagang pagkakaiba nila? And is there any difference from the two?
Actually, may difference talaga ang political strategist and PR strategist. For one, political strategist, yun nga sina Sir Lito Banayo, Sir Alan Herman, Sir Ronaldo Puno. They are the people that, manages the entire political electoral machinery. Meaning, ang goal mo is not just limited to communications, but also logistics, financing, events, and actually positioning of your client. So, kung makita mo, minsan, the political strategist or the campaign manager, some of them, we call themselves that, sila yung mga parang spokespersons ng campaign, usually. Whereas in PR strategists, our job is to actually manage perception, meaning yung tingin nyo sa isang bagay, yung how you respond to it, yung goal namin. So parang ang end goal ng isang PR strategist is to make sure na yung may papakita namin sa inyo, mga kliyente namin, in your eyes, is credible, trustworthy, authentic, and at the same time, something na alam mo maaasahan mo pagdating ng mga time like elections.
So, kumbaga, in a team of like, ako yung politician A, I have political strategist, and in my team, we also have PR strategist also, or in one, parang ganon, parang they have to hire, political strategists would have to hire PR strategists also in their team?
Yes, depende sa structure, depende. Kumari kasi, there are some campaigns na yung campaign manager, OCM, or the PR or the political strategist, naghahanap siya ng mga tao as early as minsan 2 years or a year before elections, naghahanap niya ng mga tao para, to build already the reputation of a certain politician. Although, admittedly, 1 year is not enough to build a reputation, especially for gunning for the presidency. Gagana pa yan pag mayor or vice mayor or councilor ka. Pero, in this certain national elections, hiwalay talaga yung pag-hire ng dalawang ganun. Kasi, the political strategist or the campaign manager, usually dapat meron na siyang sense of expertise or sense of experience in handling like PR, logistics, finance, event management, whatever. Dapat gamay na yun. Pero, minsan, admittedly, may mga bagay sa kampanya na hindi naman hawak lahat ng political strategists. Marami kasi siyang iniisip. So, paano yun i-resolve? Siyempre,
i-devolve niya sa ibang tao pa sa team.
Yes. Ganun siya. So, anong nangyayari, we live in an elections where kailangan meron ka talagang nakatutok doon sa isang segment na yun. You call the shots, You make sure na align yun sa overall campaign manager, sa PR strategist, or whatever. And that, I think, constitutes already a good political machinery. Ika nga.
Mm-hmm. Follow up lang doon, I'll just pick up doon sa sinabi mo na yung PR strategist made sure na parang for the imaging, for the perception ng ng politiko o ng individual. But I'm just curious, no, how do you make sure na parang since you make of the parang gusto niyo yung maiba yung perception, how do you make sure na parang hindi siya doon nalalayo sa doong personality talaga ng politician na i-handle niyo? Because I'm just curious, baka too much of the projection doon sa personality ng hinahandle nyo, hindi na siya makatotohanan na parang, this is very different from the candidate A that who this candidate A really is. Kasi parang kung di ba kasi sa sobrang rebranding yung bang tawag dyan or the imaging, parang nalalayo doon sa pagkatao ng politician. How do you make sure na hindi naman nalalayo and sakto lang din doon sa dapat na ipakita o i-project ng isang candidate?
Actually, you have to know the personality of the politician. That's number one. You cannot just simply rebrand a person into a new entity na magmumukhang hypocrite. Kaya nga. Isa sa mga ayaw ng mga electoral.
Yeah, kasi I just wanna make sure kasi para, di ba? Para saan yung, kumbaga saan yung thin line na parang, eto pa rin naman siya, pero at least ito yung dapat niya lang i-project. Kasi baka dumating sa lang sa so you have to know the personality of yes sir.
Personality, character, basically the entire holistic perspective of who the man is. Alan Herman, who is a persuasion specialist, he argues that there are 4 M's in a political campaign. Man, machinery, money, and of course, the most important M, man, machinery, money, and of course, yung messaging. PR strategist, ang concern niya is the messaging. Okay. It's not just limited to perception. So, how do you do this? For example, let's look at Bongbong Marcos, who is now the leading candidate in the Pulse Asia survey SWS. He has 50% or 60%, depending on what survey poll you are referring to, right?
Yeah.
So why? Why is Bongbong Marcos authentic? Diba? Kasi, imagine, you have this guy na he's literally a rich kid.
Yes. Diba? So naman, yes, correct.
He's literally a rich kid. And sila yung parang tipong, alam mo yun, he did not experience being poor. Hindi siya yung tipong makamasa. Diba? So, how do you project a rebrand of Marcos na for 30 years ay, they were rejected by the Filipino people. Let's admit that. So, how does this project work using the 4 M's that Alan Herman is presenting to the media? Number 1, the man. Whether we like it or not, whether we realize it or not, the Marcoses have done something good naman talaga. We have to acknowledge that first. Okay? Yes. Bongbong Marcos is literally the spitting image of his father. Literally. Like, tingnan mo yung boses niya. Tingnan mo yung haircut niya.
Pinagbiyak na parang pinagbiyak na bunga or something. He's trying to project the father.
Basically siyang resurrected apo lahat. Okay? So you have to know the ano ba siya? Alam naman natin Bongbong Marcos is not nakamas. He is, when you see him talk, he's always about unity, pagkakaisa, yada yada. So ibig sabihin, what they're trying to project as a man, as a Marcos, which is authentic, is that we have to move on. You have to show that after 30 years, kailangan patawarin na yan, moving on. Of course, this does not reflect my personal belief. I'm trying to be objective here. So, that is the man. Okay? You have this man who sees himself as a strong man. May napatunayan naman siya sa Ilocos Norte, Puno. The Marcos S for many years have been showing that their brand of politics, it's what we call transactional. We know they tend to be very patronage politics, all of that. But at the end of the day, the reason why Ilocos still votes for the Marcoses, it's because during martial law, Ilocos was really heavily invested. That's why mga Ilocano ay nakita na, uy, nagbe-benefit naman tayo kay Apolacay. So, bakit sinasabi naman, hindi, ever. In fact, nakita namin yung progress. Same logic applies when you go to Pampanga and Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. That's why Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, no matter how unpopular she is still popular in Pampanga. So, there's your man. Now, what is your messaging? Messaging, you have to get from two things. What's the context and what can you offer? Okay? What's the context of the Philippines right now? Let's admit it. EDSA failed to deliver on its promises. In UP, in some of the department, in the UP policy department, of course, based on discussions with them. Some of them, I'm not saying all of them. The people power is not a revolution; it's not uprising. Why uprising? A revolution implies that there's a radical change, right?
Yes.
But if you're gonna look at it, after 1986, what happened?
Wala namang masyadong nagbago.
It's the same. It's basically you just raise another statue of another dictator. Yes. So, anong nangyayari? After 30 years, I'm not gonna input fake news here pa lang ha. If you're gonna put that, you'll realize that bakit kwento ng nanay tatay ko, okay naman mga Marcoses. Walang krimen. Pwede akong maglakad sa labas. All those basic necessities na, there were human rights violations. Pero naiisip ng mga tao at that time, kasi, they're mga matigas ang ulo nila eh. Hindi sila nakikinig eh. Hindi na sa sumunod eh. There aren't tayong ganung culture eh, whether we like it or not eh. Na we always follow order. Which is contradictory if you think about it. Kasi, ang daming Pilipino hindi nagja-jaywalk. Ang daming Pilipino na hindi man makapila sa tamang linya. Nagdumudumog pa rin. Pero, if you're gonna ask them, why do you vote for a president? And they'll say, gusto ko kasi sumusunod sa batas. Kasi gusto kong ganito. Diba? Yes. So, coming from there, you will realize that there were failures in EDSA. Let's admit it. The first thing that we need to do is to acknowledge that there is an agency or merong valid reason yung mga supporters of the Marcoses why there is a solid Bongbong Marcos support, why is there a solid Duterte support. It's not just ethno-linguistic. Okay? Kasi isa sa mga common misconceptions is that just because it's ethno-linguistic, automatic support na ito. That's why Mindanaoans and Bisaya would rather lean to Duterte because it's Bisaya. Of course, with all respect and love to our fellow Filipinos to the Visayas and Mindanao, naiintindihan naman natin yun. Kasi, if we're gonna look at it, Cory, Ramos, Erap, Arroyo, Aquino, Manila is growing. But Vismin, not so much. So, nangyayari, because of that, Bongbong needs to create a message. A message that will show na hindi lang nostalgia, the return to the old golden age, quote and unquote, hindi naman the golden age, going back to order. Kaya, sama-sama tayong babangon muli. Hindi na tayo babangon mula sa pandemya, pero babangon tayo sa 30 years of management. Money, I don't think I have to discuss that.
Kasi parang
machine. Go ahead.
Parang alam natin na naman sila they have the resources actually.
Lots of resources. Last, machinery. Machinery is not defined by just, the number of people you have. It is defined by how they can perform. Malakas ang makina namin ni Bongbong social. Whether on land, which is, yung mga motorcades. Air, social media. Social media changed the dynamics of the elections. People get to already express their opinions. There's already a sense of confirmation biases. We tend to choose which media outlet we will look into, which podcast we will listen to. So, nangyayari,
parang control na yung narrative.
And you want a sense of gusto ko may mangyari. 'Di ba? So doon papasok yung 4M's ni Sir Alan Herman. Man, money, machinery, messaging. And we have all those for complete. It's already what you call, going back to what you said, that's already the political machinery. That's already where you can build to actually marry between how people look at you and who exactly are you. Doon papasok yung messaging mo, yung image mo. Sabi nga ni Julio Tehanque in his article about political campaigning in 2011, I forgot the name of the article. The goal of every politician is to create endearment first. Endearment meaning makikisama, mahalin ka ng tao. And from there, you can put your issues. Bakit? Pag mahal mo ng isang tao or pag medyo may fan ka na ng isang politiko, at ang sabihin niya, kakagatin mo. Diba?
That's interesting. In terms of messaging po, you make mention of messaging. What do you think constitutes a very good messaging for politician? Kasi meron akong mga tao din dito sa amin sa Cebu. Medyo they have the same sentiments when it comes to VP Lenny's messaging, no, in particular. Parang hindi daw parang hindi siya resonating. Parang what do you think is a good constitutes a good messaging na parang palagi nilang sinasabi yun in terms of yung parang yun talaga yung reklamo nila kay VP Lenny, and I'm wondering na parang kung sa kanya bakit hindi nag-work, parang sa iba naman medyo they're very very successful doon sa messaging na part. What for you constitutes a very good messaging? And what do you think is the problem of VP Lenny's campaign team? Na parang at least no consistent yung mga naririnig ko sa mga interviews, and dito din sa amin nag-iikot ako. Parang they're very consistent na parang hindi daw tumatagos or it's not resonating among the Filipinos. What do you think about?
3 things. Number 1, does it respond to the current context? Why? For example, let's use a top 3 presidential ones, with all due respect to the others. Isko Moreno, Bongbong Marcos, Leni Robredo. What is Isko Moreno's messaging? Una, bilis kilos.
Yes, yeah.
Bilis kilos. Bongbong Marcos, sama-sama tayong babangon muli. Leni Robredo, gobyerno ng tapat, angat buhay lahat. You have to look at how these messages respond to the current situation which the elections are. Kailangan naintindihan natin that these messages have what we call historical, cultural, social, psychological origins. Hindi lang naman pwede na you get a message out of nowhere. Those messages are actually carefully crafted because they want to first, as my first point, respond to the current context. Number 2, is it authentic? Meaning, is it aligned with the brand? Is it aligned with the person? Think of elections as a marketing campaign and the politicians as a product. Okay? What makes a good product? Is it the specifics? Is it the price? Or how it presents itself? Minsan, let's say for example, you're gonna buy your cell phone. Maraming brands, Oppo, Nokia, all those. Pero what makes you buy a phone? Some say it's price. As long as tipid, okay, diba? Solve na tayo. Pero hindi lang tayo nadilimit sa price eh. Sometimes you look at the specs, which is the credentials of politicians. Like, magandang camera to, 44 megapixel. Pero, there is this one factor na nakakapag-persuade sa atin to buy it. If you watch a commercial, and you look at the product, or they're literally the same, ano yung tinitingnan mo? Na mag-i-influence pa, ay, gusto ko itong hindi ba yung ano yung sinasabi niya sa'yo? Diba? Yeah. What resonates to you will be the thing that you will buy. You don't even care about the price. You don't even care about the specs. What matters to you is, hala, nare-resonate ko dun. It's authentic. Therefore, the brand and the message are aligned. Let's look at this Lenny and Bongbong. Bongbong. sama-sama tayong babangon muli. If we're gonna look at the context of Bongbong's branding, he has the Marcos brand. The Marcoses, 1965 to 1969, at the very least, they've done something good. There were infrastructure. Economy grew. Disiplinado ang mga tao. Who wouldn't want that back? Diba? Who wouldn't want na Pilipino pwede na mag-cross sa tamang tawiran? Kahit ganun kasimple lang. Diba? So you have that branding na ay authentic. Kasi sama-sama tayo babangon muli. Unity. Kung di tayo diba meron mga, I don't know if it applies in Cebu, there's a saying na dapat supportan mo ang Pangulo kasi kung babagsak siya, babagsak din tayo eh.
Yes, it applies to everyone siguro.
Yes. Not only so doon pumapasok yung goodness of his messaging. Sama-sama tayong babangon muli. Yung messaging niya, yung ganun niya, pasok. It's authentic to the brand. Now let's go to Esco Moreno. Bilis kilos.
Yes.
Ano yun? Mabilis na something, action.
Yeah. You get things done right now.
Why is it authentic? You have prototypes. Esco is the prototype candidate. He can show na, in Manila, I built this hospitals, I built this Manila Zoo, I built this ganyan, etc. So if you'll notice in his campaign, ina-emphasize niya kung ano nagawa niya sa Manila in just 3 years. So he's basically saying, if I've done this in Manila for 3 years, what more if I have natural resources in just 6 years? Bilis kilos, responsive, empathetic, empathy, compassion. We have what we call tactical empathy, where you respond to a certain segment or a certain crisis through your empathy, whether that's genuine or not, that's really out of the question. People can manufacture empathy depending on how you do it. For example, let's do global politics. Why is Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand elected? Because in a critical moment in New Zealand, shootings, earthquakes, she's there and she showed empathy. In fact, I've seen in social media posts in my personal echo chamber, they really love Jacinda Ardern because grabe, empathetic, compassionate. I'm not saying she's not. But if you put that on the right timing, tactical empathy, mag-resonate yun. Filipinos vote by their heart, not on their mind. That's another problem. I think it's a factor. You don't vote based on what you have here.
Yes.
Even if you vote here, it barely resonates. Kasi let's be frank. Let's be objective. Like, full objective. If you're gonna look at the qualification of each candidate, who's the most qualified? In terms of experience, be objective. Ping Lacson.
Yes.
Diba?
Correct.
He has like more than experiences compared to Bongbong Marcos or to Lenny Robredo. Right? So, you have that. But, why do you choose Lenny? Why do you choose Bongbong? If you hanap mo yung mas ma-experience talaga, it's because you have something here. Gusto ko matapat. Gusto ko honest. Gusto ko may nagagawa. Ping can do that. But why is it only 4%?
Yes. Parang ang layo na din niya sa survey, sir, di ba? Parang he's not moving. Parang 6% lang ata.
Yeah. Because you vote by your emotions din. You use your biases. That's why in Bilis Kilos, that's what Esco is doing. He knows Filipinos are looking for agad na action. That's why Tulfo is popular. Kaya Bilis Kilos. And it's authentic to the brand. Let's look at Lenny. Gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat. Totoo naman. Diba? You have an honest governance. Angat lahat ng buhay ng tao. But if you're gonna look back, what did Lenny do during the Duterte administration for the past 6 years? Did she support Duterte? Alam mo yon, yung parang sa na si Lenny naman, no? Puro na lang reklamo. Diba ganun? We cannot fault them. Kasi look, Lenny became HUDCC chair 2016, 2017. So, syempre, if you're a normal voter without your biases, and you're like, uy, mukhang okay si Diggs kasi she's nag-reach out siya. And then you'll find out that he said, I don't like these are human rights violation and ganyan. Nagreklamo siya. So, isipin mo, pala, so hindi ka tapat sa gobyerno mo. Diba? Parang, if gobyernong tapat ang buhay lahat, i-rehash mo yon. Anong messaging ang makuha mo? Kung walang corrupt, walang mahirap. So, nangyayari, people will think,
pare-pareho.
So, ibabalik lang yung nangyari ng Aquino. Noy was popular, but why did he fail? Sa empathy. I mean, meron nga, pero hindi nakikita. People believe, sabi nga, when people show them who they are first time, believe them. Yung ganun niya, especially this famous thing na never nakakalimutan mga Visayas. You are Robo Valdez and the president is an Aquino. Kahit sabihin na natin na Lenny is not Liberal Party, she's still the chair of the Liberal Party. Meaning, iisipin mo ibabalik mo to. Ganyan. So, so going back, yung authenticity, nawawala. Kahit sabihin na natin na, nung pandemic si Lenny, ang dami yung ginawa. Totoo naman.
Yung e-consulta, yung parang vaccine bus, na parang, diba? Ang dami. It cannot be denied kasi parang kahit na kami dito sa Cebu, parang hindi naman kami direktang natulungan talaga. But, in fairness naman to the OVP's team, parang they were very constant in parang making it public na may nagawa naman siyang e-consulta, yung vaccine, yung bus transport, parang and in fairness, with a little budget, nagawa niya yon. Whether or not little ba talaga yung budget, but limited yung resources, but she was able to maximize it to the best of her ability. But yun nga yung palagi kong tanong na parang, why is it that ordinary Filipinos seem not to resonate with the messaging? Yun nga yung parang, but I get na your point na sometimes talaga there's parang hindi lang masyadong kumbaga yung pagka-tagpi-tagpi siguro ng messaging ng bawat isa or the Lenny Robredo's camp in particular. And I just want to parang sundutin ko pa yun. Ano yung ginagawa ng team or ng PR team kung sakali pong hindi masyadong kumakagat o nag-resonate yung messaging? Do you think of another one or or parang continue lang? Anong ginagawa niyo pag hindi?
You have to recalibrate. It depends on what's going on, 'di ba? Depends talaga. So
But
for example,
sige sir, continue po.
So for example, depende kasi sa context yan eh. Like, depende sa ano nangyayari. You only know when a messaging works when the results are there. Diba? Parang, how do you know ba if a product works? Pag nagamit mo na. And then, pag nagamit mo na, ano yung improvement ang gagawin mo? Diba? Parang let's say you're passing your course paper for the subject. Bibigyan ka ng correction, diba? Ng mga prof. What will you do about it, diba? So, dapat, kapag in-assess mo, titingnan mo yan. Kunwari, in my practice, titingnan ko yung volume ng nag-pick up ng storya. Did it 100% penetrate to what we wanted to achieve? And paano yung tingin ng mga tao? Being placed in media is just one thing, but the perception or the reception is another thing. So if let's say hindi nag-resonate yun, ano ang gagawin mo? Doon na, mag-a-assess ka. And when you assess, after that, how will you recalibrate? You will respond to it. And after you respond to it, you check again. ARC. Assess, respond, check. It's always a continuous cycle. You can still maintain your messaging kasi wala yun na yung messaging mo eh. Gobyerno tapat, angat buhay lahat. That's already it. You cannot change that forever.
Kasi diba parang ilang days na lang, 70 plus days. Parang within this days na parang 70 plus days na lang, is there a chance or a move na parang I need to recalibrate pa, considering na para lang to at least narrow the gap of VP Lenny doon sa front runner, or parang may sense pa ba to recalibrate, or just continue na lang the entire, plan. I'm not only talking for VP Lenny's, for the rest of the candidates. Is there
meron pa. 2.5 months is a long time in politics.
Okay.
Bongbong's numbers for me, first, I think it peaked already. Unless it increases further, that's something else. If ever, Bongbong might be...
Poster, di ba, nag-60, may 58. Depende kung saan mo titingnan eh. Parang I just want to ask you that kasi parang, for me, parang may nagsasabi nga iba sa interview ni Karen Davila. Parang elections are over na daw. Do you resonate to this? Do you subscribe to this idea na parang sinasabi na elections are over kasi it's 60 to
No. It never was. The reason why surveys are there is for you to check if it's working.
Okay.
Going back to what I'm saying, you work with the data. You don't work against it. Alright? So, I think this is one of the common misconceptions of every supporter of Lenny. Some of the supporters of Lenny Robredo. They say surveys are fake. No, it's not. It never was. It can help you if you can work with it. Kasi, I doubt 60% are all hardcore Bongbong supporters. If you're gonna look at the recent, I know it's not the best, but it's the available data, Publicus Asia data. Bongbong's Marcos core supporters are just 38%. In fact, Lenny's core supporters is 19%. Core na yun, no? So, ibig sabihin, out of that 19% on SWS, though I think this is wrong way to do it, but that's for example lang, for the sake of debate, 19% of that 19% are core supporters. 38% of that 60% are core supporters. So, ibig sabihin, within those doon, merong certain percentage which you can get. That's your market.
Okay.
Kasi, for example, let's use, when you buy something ba, yun na ba talaga yung bibilin mo? Hindi, di ba?
Oh yes, mag-iisip ka pa eh. Di ba? You think twice.
Yeah, parang kunwari, may nakita kang kape. You want to buy that coffee out of gut. And then suddenly there comes this another coffee na nagsasabi, better the taste, twice the caffeine, whatever, yada yada. And you being an overworked student or whatever, kunwari lang, you would say, ay, kailangan pong gising ko, sige, ito na lang. And then there comes another coffee. But if you really have a trust in the brand, whatever happens, you'll buy that coffee. Those are the two kinds of voters. The hardcore and the softcore. The softcore are your targets. That's why if you notice, Isko Moreno, he's campaigning as an alternative to Bongbong because he knows pretty well that softcore Bongbong supporters are more likely to vote for him than Lenny. Balsa Studies show that Isko is the top preferred choice. Second choice should Bongbong get disqualified. Therefore, who is the softcore? I am willing to bet that Bongbong supporters, give it 40% or 30% of them are softcore, which can still be up for grabs. Same goes with Ping, same goes with Manny, same goes with Lenny. Now, this is regarding your earlier question on the recalibration message. Doon na yung pumasok.
Okay.
Diba? You cannot change your campaign message forever because it will cause confusion. If nagbago yung premise mo, magbabago din yung isipin ng mga tao. They will say you're inconsistent. And that's the bad thing about branding. If you're inconsistent, people won't trust you. People won't believe you because wala kang isang salita. And in the Philippines, I know this is debatable, but meron tayong sense of palabra de honor or dapat isang salita ka. Kung mangungutang ka, kailangan magbayad ka on time. Pag hindi, kung politik kitang visit sa harap ka. Mga ganun, diba? Meron mga ganun, diba? So, dun na yun. Right? So, going back, You have the authenticity already. You have the context already. And lastly, the delivery. Making a good message, having the right message is not enough. Sometimes you have to be a good messenger. Bongbong is not really the best communicator available right now.
Yes.
Ispo is way better.
Yes.
Diba? Like, if you're gonna watch him in the SMNI debate, my God, you know very well that you know very well that even your professor would speak more eloquently than him. Alamano, those stuff. Pero, he sticks to his message. Unity. Pagkakaisa.
Yes.
Which happens, so that's why his message resonates. The delivery. Lenny Robredo. My issue with her, personally, is if you notice, her Tagalog is too deep.
Yes, parang hindi masyadong
And let's admit it. Dito na papasok ethno-linguistic debate eh. Do you really think a normal person from Cebu will really appreciate deep Tagalog?
Yes.
No. That's why anong nangyayari, I remember when first time I went to Cebu, they will tell me, Brandon, they will appreciate it more if you speak English instead of Tagalog. At first I asked why. And then they said, to be very honest, some Cebuanos will not really preview Tagalog because they think, you're being, yung language na nasasira. Unlike English, it's a shared language which we can understand. I don't know, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yun yung nasabi sa akin earlier. Right? So, because Lenny's delivery is too much based on the Tagalogs, etc., I am not surprised if the Cebuanos and the Mindanaos are like, okay, whatever. Yun. I hope I answered your question though.
Okay. So, ganun pala, no? Ngayon ko lang kumbaga, na-appreciate yung trabaho ng mga PR or ng mga team ng isang kandidat. Napakahirap, napakalawak, no? Hindi lang pala siya basta-basta about communication, imaging, parang ang dami pang maliliit na detalye na dapat mong siyang pagtatagpi-tagpiin.
Yes. Hindi lang yun. Pati data, research yan. Making an advertisement takes lots of research. Kailangan responsive yun.
Lalo na ngayon, papalapit na yung election, parang lahat on the game na. Diba? Kasi it's everybody's ball game naman pag election talaga eh. Doon mo na malalaman sa May 9 kung nag-work ba lahat ng mga imaging mo, ng mga rebranding and all. Doon na talaga mismo sa May 9 malalaman lahat na this work kasi kami yung nanalo, kami yung pinili. But until wala pa yung May 9, parang all of you, I guess, whether saang team, no, with respect to other candidates, parang lahat sila parang guessing game pa din. Will this work? Will we recalibrate this part? Parang, diba? Parang, kasali ba yun sa nyo, sir? Yung sa advice ninyo bilang PR strategist na parang, do you actually recommend to your client na, ma'am, sir, wag na lang kayong sumali? Or is that part of strategy na parang hindi na lang pasalihin yung mga kandidato nyo halimbawa sa debates? Is that part of your advice talaga na parang, wag na lang ganito? Kasi parang feeling... Sige, sir.
Let's just put it this way. Choose your battles. Kasi empirically, scholarship, there's not a consensus, but there is this argument that attending debates is actually not really helpful at all. In the United States, the reason why they watch debates is because they believe that they want to see how their candidate pummels the other candidate. Recently, in a recent study, I forgot the author, it was just published, the polarization was so deep that Democrats and Republicans look at each other as if the other party is literally stupid. They're not evil, they're stupid because they don't know what they're talking about. And I'd like to believe this kind of applies here in the Philippines because most of our systems are adopted from the American system. Na, tingnan mo, anong tawag kay Lenny? Tanga, dilawan, tanga. Anong tawag sa mga most supporters? Alam, mga bobo kayo, bobo BBM, Marcos Tuwag. Doesn't that validate the study that I mentioned earlier? So, going there, you have to choose your battles wisely. Hindi naman lahat sabak sa gera. Sun Tzu once said that sometimes you have to win the battle, but you will lose the war. That sometimes happens. So you have to make strategic decisions on what battles to choose for optimal win. So I get where Bongbong is coming from. I get that they don't want to participate in those debates, if not all. But that's high risk din. Kasi if I am, let's say, a strategist of Len or strategist of Isko, kunwari lang, I would say, duwag to, hindi siya kagaya ng tatay. Why? Marcos supporters look at Marcos as this somewhat of a messianic, all-knowing, eidetic memory. He can master the Constitution. He can read it backwards, even without looking at it. He's good in debates. Even if Marcos is literally like a Satan incarnate, whatever. 1981, he can still debate. He has the gravitas. He has the ethos. He has the credibility. That's why people are so enamored by Marcos.
But do you think his absenteeism in some of the debates will affect his numbers in the coming?
I'd like to believe so.
Pero hindi pa nag-reflect ngayon kasi pre-surveys pa naman.
Yes. And I'd like to believe that Bongbong supporters would also consider other choices. Kasi ang hirap i-defend na most of the candidates are there but you hindi. Siyempre, you're gonna ask, bakit SMNI wala nag-attend? Well, Kiboloy said he's pro Marcos anyway. Why would you go to something that you're literally disadvantaged? You'll say, Dr. Carlos there. Yes, I respect Dr. Carlos as an academic. She is one of the best. Akin lang, you don't even try to idolize an academic. Kasi maraming magagaling din na academics in other universities. I'm pretty sure Cebu has lots of good professors who can be at bar. So let's not idolize one academic on that. Someone is also as sharp as Claire Carlos. It's just that hindi siya kilala ng public except those by her colleagues or by the academy. So it really depends on what kind of battle you want. The reason why Bongbong did the SMNI, I believe, is because he wants to show na hindi naman siya takot eh. It's just that conflict lang ng schedule. Ano yung first?
Maganda yung mga sharing ninyo and siguro to end na lang this conversation, what is your message? Yung message mo sa mga Filipino voters, no? Ano dapat yung isa-isip nila in choosing our leaders, no, for the next 6 years?
Number 1, be critical. Number 2, check the credentials. Don't vote on the image, vote on the person. We tend to vote on the image, not the person. So look at the person. And number 3, it's not just all about you, it's all about the country. Your vote can complicate everything. So please vote, choose wisely. Go beyond your biases. Go beyond your perceptions. Look at the person, the rawness, the nakedness of the person, and maybe perhaps you can find the right leader that you will need.
Siguro, I'll just have to leave it at that, sir. And again, thank you for gracing this program. And until our next conversation here on Politics and Beyond. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
And that's it for this week's episode of Politics and Beyond. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify to keep you updated. Until our next episode here on Politics and Beyond, where we elevate the issues through conversations.